this feels like an amazing thing to a lot of us because of when we started.
Yeah.
Teachers were underpaid.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
now it feels like more. But to people, sort of the generation before, my parents were teachers, when they talk about it, I came into it at a low point in teaching where teachers, pay had been dropped and dropped, or at least hadn't kept track with inflation. And then I came in there. So now going up this much to back to, somewhat, or at least getting us a little bit higher up to where we could have been or should have been if we were tracking inflation, feels amazing. We're all going, oh my God, wow, that, this is a really good thing. When in fact, does it even get us back to where a straight line would have been from, say, the 80s or the 90s following inflation? Does it even get us back to where we would have been? Because it doesn't feel like when I talk to teachers, they're doing all right. They're doing all right, but it doesn't feel like, it's a really well-off profession, or or particularly even, we are middle class by nature, but it doesn't feel like, certainly not the prestige maybe, or the expectation of maybe what it used to be.
In the private sector world now, sort of early mid 20 somethings are changing jobs all the time. That's the first thing, right? They're changing jobs quite regularly, every year even, right? Whereas I wouldn't have dreamt of that. I wouldn't have dreamt of moving, even if I wasn't in teaching, right? Imagine whatever job I'd have been in when I was 21 out of uni, I wouldn't have gone, I'm going to move on from here in a year or two, and I'm going to make sure that I increase my salary when I do that by X amount of money. So I think that's been a change. And I think obviously just salaries have gone up across the board. And I think the expectation amongst sort of graduates and stuff has gone up a lot in terms of salary. So I don't know. I mean, do you think that is going to be attractive enough to get enough people from a financial point of view? Do you think that's now sort of mid-range attractive to a graduate?
I don't know if it's that. If that was the point, I don't think this is enough. If it's about stemming the flow maybe of people leaving, I think it might do something. And I think as like a signifier, as a story to say above inflation pay rise is a really strong message to be saying to teachers, about their worth, about their value, about where the education system might be going, to rather than it being, oh my God, like I remember coming into the profession, the Gove years and things feeling like a battle, being that, we were referred to as the blob, it being very combative.